Welcome back in, everybody, to Pro Football Plus. It is a privilege to have all of you with us tonight. We've got our full panel here tonight. Yusef is in the house. Austin is here. Shane is here. The NFL season isn't around the corner. It's right here staring us in the face, man, and we are here for it. We're covering 6 games tonight. We're going to cover them not super in depth. We're going to take our time with them, make some picks, put some fake money on the line tonight too. I think we'll just make every game worth the same amount tonight. I don't know. I'll figure it out later, but every game tonight will be worth the same amount. And so let's get rolling, man. Shane, you're up first. Our first game of the week is going to be the Ravens and the Chiefs. I think that's the Thursday night opener, correct? And it'll be on NBC. The Chiefs are a 3-point favorite at the moment, so we're a couple of days away. Heads up to the audience. The line may shift a little bit before these games actually start, but this is our current working line. So, Shane, give it to us, man. The first game of the year, Ravens and Chiefs.
On this one, Ben, I think most people will agree. I went with the Chiefs. I think if you're looking at the Ravens, they have a lot of offensive line questions. Turning in a new defensive coordinator. What is that going to look like? Some of the big losses that the Ravens have had in the last couple of years may come into sight. The big thing I think for the Ravens, though, is if they get to play the way they want to, that's a power rushing attack if the offensive line can hold up. And if they can hold the ball, you'd rather have Patrick Mahomes not get as many opportunities as he normally gets. So the Ravens at least will not getting into a scoring match with them. They'll try to control the ball and beat them up in the trenches.
I think that's what everybody's waiting to see, just how physical Baltimore can be this year. Yusef, thoughts on the game, man? Looks like we've lost Yusef for just a minute. We'll come back to him. Austin.
Guys. Can you hear me?
I hear you, Yusef. Lay it on us, man. What's your thoughts on the game, brother? Still hanging out. So, Austin, go ahead and give us your thoughts on Ravens and Chiefs.
This one was tough. I do like the Chiefs to win the game, but 3 points I think is too many to give to the Ravens. So I'll take the Ravens with the spread. The Ravens are going to be really good, especially early in the season when Derrick Henry, is not had a season's load of work behind him. He's getting old at this point, but he's shown not really too much signs of slowing down. I am a little concerned with all the tread on the tires when it gets to late season, but I mean, this is a early September game, so I think Derrick Henry is going to be full strength. I'm a little excited actually about this passing game for the Ravens. Mark Andrews back healthy. Zay Flowers, big year 2 leap. I think Rashad Bateman still can play ball. I know a lot of people have written him off, and he's not worth the first round pick that they spent on him, but I still think he can play ball. And then the big underrated player I think in this offense is actually Isaiah Likely. Their backup tight end, their tight end too. He is a phenomenal athlete, really good at yards after catch, and can be a real game changer. So I'm looking for this Ravens offense to put up a lot of points. I think they'll have to in order to keep up with the Chiefs, especially they've got this new D coordinator. We'll see. I think they have a lot of talent on the defensive line. If you listen to my podcast a few weeks ago, I picked Kyle Hamilton actually to win Defensive Player of the Year. So we'll see if that pans out. But yeah, I like the Ravens.
I love it. If we were on around the horn, and sorry, Yusef, we're getting double feedback here. We can hear ourselves now. Sorry. We'll come back to Yusef whenever he gets ready. We'll go through all of his picks whenever we can get to him.
I'm going by phone right now.
I hear you, man. I can hear you, Yusef.
I'm going by phone. Everything just
crashed
out. So good times out here in the podcasting world. Oh my goodness, unbelievable, man! Can't believe it.
But, give me that pick, Yusef.
All right, so Ravens Chiefs. I didn't get to hear any of you guys' analysis, so I apologize for that, man. But I got the Chiefs with a slight edge here. I expect Denver Heavy to kind of slow the game down. They notoriously kind of play each other real tight. So I'm probably guessing that this is not going to be the over 46.5 that this saying is going to be. I think it's going to be a lot closer than that and a lot under. I'm watching to see if the Baltimore cornerbacks can limit the KC's wide receivers. They got a rookie in Worthy, and they got some guys that I wonder if they can kind of keep Baltimore on their toes. I don't know. I think it's gonna be one of those really tight games that you can't really pick. But in this case, that -3 probably makes a lot of sense. I'm gonna go with the Chiefs here in a slight win over Baltimore. Definitely not hitting that 46.5. I just don't see it happening.
All right, fair enough. And I'm going to go with the Chiefs as well here to cover that 3. Austin's right. That is tight. And the whole game does feel tight. I don't feel like this is going to be a high-scoring game. This feels like a tight game. If it were later in the season, I kind of sort of be feeling, hey, that Chiefs offense maybe has it together. But, boy, you got so many new receivers coming in there. I feel like it's going to be a little sloppy on the Chiefs' side as they try to figure this out against a good Ravens defense. But I still, early on in this season, it's at Kansas City. I think Kansas City is the better team, so I'm going to pick them to cover that 3 points. But I do like the Ravens' Super Bowl hopes here as the season goes along. But for this first game, give me the Chiefs. Let's move on to game number 2. Shane's Patriots going up against the Bengals. Will be on CBS on Sunday. This game was an 9.5 point favorite. It's moved down to 8.5, so getting just a little bit thinner there. Shane, give us your thoughts on the Bengals and Patriots.
I think it's going to end up like 14.5. I do not think the Patriots have looked good in the preseason. Bengals normally have been a slow starter, but I think they have less question marks all around. We'll see how long Jacoby Brissett gets to play quarterback for. But I think it's an easy win for the Bengals on this game. Patriots, like I said, I think this is going to be another rough year for them.
Any chance we see Drake May at all in this game, Shane, or is that a closed deal for this game?
Ooh, I would say unless Jacoby Brissett ends up injured, I don't think they want to throw him out there right now. I think they'd like to try to hope that the offense can at least play NFL quality offense for a little while and then move Drake May into there. I think once you've already made the decision to start Jacoby Brissett, then it'd be hard pressed to say that you didn't have a game where, like, maybe after game 4, we're going to start to see where we'd be Drake May, but you'd hate to have Jacoby go bad in the first game and then you throw Drake May right in there, because then everyone's going to ask, why didn't you just put him out there if you've already made that decision to switch him out that quickly?
Yeah, agreed. I think Drake May would have needed to look just like a Hall of Famer in the preseason in order for them to really want to start him out from week 1. So I don't think we're going to see him barring an injury to Jacoby Brissett. All right, Youssef, Patriots at Bengals. Bengals by 8.5.
Despite popular belief, New England does have talent on paper, same way as last year. I think the only hope to win this game is ball control. But I love Ramondre Stevenson. He's coming off of an injury, so I don't know how impactful he's going to be. And what we've been seeing from Jacoby Brissett, it has not been pretty whatsoever. I think they're going to give him a long leash in this game. The Bengals aren't really known for their defense. They've had defensive problems for a long time and haven't really solved it. Last year, they were next to last in defense, and you think they would fix that kind of stuff in the draft and free agency, but guess what they didn't do? That. So I'm not sure that they have enough in New England to capitalize on that situation. I'm going to say that the Bengals are going to win this in regards to the spread. I think they could potentially go over the 40.5. Only because I think that Jamar Chase, I mean, if he's playing in this game, it's going to be a big thing. If he is playing, he's going to be active, because I know he got a contract situation as well. But if he's going to be playing, he's going to get fed a lot. And I don't think the Pats have the DBs to do anything about it. So it's going to be a long night or a long day in the office for the Pats. So I think the Bengals got this one handily and probably going to go over that 40.5.
All right, Austin, anything different here? Are we lining up the same, man?
Just a fun stat. Do you know, anyone know who has who's tied with Aaron Rodgers for the lowest career interception percentage in NFL history? Anyone know?
I don't. I can make a guess.
It's Jacoby Brissett. He does one thing really, really well, and that's protect the football. I do think the Patriots have a fighting chance if Jamar Chase doesn't play. Unfortunately, I think Jamar Chase is probably going to play, so I am going to take the Bengals with the points. The reason that the line went down from 9.5 to 8.5, I think, is because the chance that Jamar doesn't play. Even if he doesn't play, this is still a close line for me. That's why I'm going to take the Bengals minus the spread. Uh, I think the Patriots offensive line is their biggest issue. Ramondre's a talented back, but he's not, a world beater who's going to make up for, bad offensive line play. And the receiver room in New England is a lot of young guys who don't have a lot of experience. And I think they're going to need some time to kind of get their feet underneath them in the NFL. I do see this Patriots team being a little better than expected, but week one's too early.
I'm with you guys. This game almost isn't fair in a way because you've got the Patriots on the road, the Patriots' first game of the season, the Patriots with a new coach, the Patriots with a journeyman quarterback or else a rookie quarterback. The Patriots are light on the offensive side. They're rebuilding. We all know it. And you got them going up against one of the better teams in football. So, the 8.5 is to be expected here. And I've got the Bengals covering that. If not by halftime, but by the time the game is over, I've got the Bengals talent just kind of overworking everything here. Is where I'm at. So Patriots Bengals. Getting a little more feedback, Youssef. Sorry, I can hear myself. All right. Cowboys at the Browns. This will be on a Fox. I expect this to be one slobber knocker of a game. All right. So I'm interested to see where you guys go with this. Browns at the moment are a 2.5-point favorite. And Dallas is coming in with a few questions, but we'll see what we got. Shane, where are you feeling on this game?
I'm going Cowboys with the points. Cowboys generally start the season well. I think the Browns are in transition. I'm not a big Deshaun Watson fan, so where I see their weakness coming from there. But the thing is, the Browns are a talented team. I just don't think they're going to put it together. I think the Cowboys have more at stake in the beginning. And I think Michael Parsons is going to chase after Deshaun Watson all day. I really think it comes down defensively in this game. Myles Garrett will be a terror on the opposite side. I think it's going to be really one on the defensive lines on both sides.
All right. Austin, Cowboys and Browns. Browns 2.5-point favorite.
Listen, I have to say this here. I can't say this on my own show because I'm flanked by two Browns fans. I think the Browns are one of the most overrated teams in football this year.
Oh, no.
Jerry Jeudy's not that good. I think everybody's expecting Jerry Jeudy, after being bad in Denver for a few years, to just like suddenly be the player that everybody thought he was going to be. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. They do still have one talented receiver in Amari Cooper, and I think Elijah Moore has some play in the flex or in the slot. But the run game without Nick Chubb is average at best. Jerome Ford can get it done, but he's no world beater. Deshaun Watson, unless he returns to his Houston Texans form, I don't see them covering this spread. So give me the Cowboys.
All right. There's a second one picking a road underdog, but it's the Cowboys. This isn't just any team. Youssef, we can't see you, but can we hear you?
Oh my God. Yeah.
There you go.
Unbelievable, man. This is like a comedy of errors over here. So I'm not doing it. All right, so Cowboys and Browns. I'm going with the Cowboys here, and it's really slight. I think that line is accurate. The Browns defense is elite. This looks like a revenge game for Amari Cooper, but it doesn't seem to have that kind of feel to it. You need to be concerned about whether his quarterback can help him walk out of this game with a win. That's the question. If we see the old Texans Deshaun Watson, this is going to be one of the best games on the schedule if that happens. You got guys like CeeDee Lamb and Zach Martin that are kind of being eased back into the season because of some injuries they had. Not even sure they're going to even be playing in this game. It may not make that much of a difference, but it could be a factor. I think the game's going to be one on the line for Dallas. Brand new O-line just put together, patchwork, if you will. And then you got Garrett, Dalvin Tomlinson. You got Zadarius Smith from the Packers. It's going to be a nightmare out there. Zach Martin's not there to help. It's going to be really, really rough. And of course, Deron Bland is out as well. He's injured. And Diggs is coming back from a season-ending injury last year. So quarterback is a position to watch as well. Like Austin stated so eloquently, no Chubb, relying on Ford to kind of carry the weight. I just don't see it. So it's all about whether Watson comes back and he can be at least serviceable in this offense. Hopefully he can, but I'm taking the Cowboys and the points here too. So
I love it. Everything you guys said is true and accurate, but I'm picking the Browns in this game. Wow. And for these reasons, this is a weird game to me. Honestly, both teams come in a little off kilter with a lot of question marks in different spots, even though we have some very known factors too. I like the Browns defense. I think that sets the tone right here. I really like the Browns defense, and the Cleveland Browns are playing at home. And, you know, if they get anything out of quarterback, they have enough on offense where they ought to be able to produce some points. So I like Cleveland here in this early season matchup. I'm interested to see if Dallas can run the football at all in this game, or if they're even really going to super much try. I'm curious about that. I know they're going to try to throw the football. We'll see if they can run it some. And, you know, we'll see. This is a weird game to me, but I like Cleveland in this matchup. Next up on Fox on Sunday, Yusef's Giants at home, an underdog to the Minnesota Vikings, minus 1.5. Shane, go ahead and take it away. Shane, can you hear us, my man? I think
This
we
is
may have
cursed.
lost him. Yes. Apologies to the audience out here. We'll catch him. Yusef, it's your Giants. Go ahead and lay it on us, man.
Wow, I thought up for the laugh. You know what that means. But at the end of the day, nobody's giving the Giants a chance to win this game. It's really hard, even as a fan, because we really can't tell who they are. There's a couple of variables. One in particular at quarterback position, we can't tell what we're going to see. We can go back and say, hey, you know what? He'll be like the 2022 Daniel Jones, or he'll be the 2023 Daniel Jones. It's kind of hard to tell. So I'm struggling with any kind of predictions anywhere regarding the Giants. I feel as though the Vikes could be missing out on two key talents at wide receiver. We brought back Adoree Jackson. I think we were kind of desperate to do that because that wasn't something that the team wanted to do, I don't think. But we had issues at cornerback as far as experience and talent. So we brought him back. So if Darnold can't take advantage of this, it's going to be a rough season for the Vikings across the board. But our defense is strong. People are trying to downplay it, but if you got Burns, Kayvon, and Dex Lawrence coming at you, it's like that's a nightmare scenario for Sam Darnold. So if the defense can keep on the ropes, it should be a really close game. I hesitate to say a surprise W for the Giants. I think the line is right. In this case, though, I'm gonna just say, you know what? Since I don't know, I'm going with the Vikings on this one. I don't know who the Giants are yet. I haven't seen anything. Practice is not going to help me out. I need to see in-game action what these guys are going to do, how they're going to work together offensively, especially if Daniel Jones is serviceable. This team is going to be what I said they should have been last year. It should have been a 10, maybe even 11-win team. If he's serviceable, there's so much talent around him on both sides of the ball. He can't help. The team can't help but at least win 9 or 10 games this year based on the schedule that we have. So I'm going with the Vikings. That 1.5, that sounds just about right to me. So I'm going with them for now. I reserve the right to change my mind. Now on this show, but for now, going with the Vikings on this one.
Austin, I feel like this is a game that can go almost any direction. I could see either team winning by 30. It's that wild of a swing here. But where are you at on this game?
Well, listen, everything tells me Vikings. I'm a Vikings fan, so I've been kind of had my ear close to the ground on everything that's gone around of the offseason. I think they're in a good position this season to surprise some people with Sam Darnold at the helm. I think Kevin O'Connell is one of the best coaches in the sport, and I think he's going to make himself a run for Coach of the Year. But I like Florida State Seminoles. I like the NC State Wolfpack, and my football season has started off horribly, guys. Like it's an 0-2 start for Florida State, and I was at the NC State game. We were favored by 32 points, and we were tied at halftime. and we were 32-point favorites. So I'm expecting this trend to continue and this just to be the worst football season of all time. Vikings probably going to win 4 games all season. This isn't one of them.
Oh my gosh. All right. So 2 for the Giants. Shane, are you back online, man?
I am. Storm watch is over. So I think if Austin didn't plunge the knife deep enough on this one, I think everything he and Yusuf have already mentioned really hits this. I'm worried about this being a complete turnover battle and not in the way where you think like whoever who gets the last turnover is. I think there's going to be interceptions galore in this game. I think the Giants, like Yusuf said, if Danny Dimes can play his game, the Giants I think are more talented on this. But I actually picked the Vikings to pull this one out. I think that line is super close. And I think the Vikings can actually pull this out. So I'm going to give Austin his 1 victory out of 4 for the season.
Thank you.
But I think it's going to be a defensive battle. And like I said, I see a ton of turnovers coming out of this game.
Ben, you got me in the wrong spot, man.
Oh, what do I got here, Yusuf?
Yeah,
you picking the
take me
Vikings?
over. Yeah, I'm not ready to say that yet. So, Austin,
Oh, okay.
you're getting love, brother.
I thought you picked the Giants.
Well, right, though.
I picked your Giant. Yeah.
Hope Austin is right though. But yeah.
All right. Listen, Sam Darnold is not a good quarterback. Nobody's going to confuse him with that. But I do feel like, having watched him in several places, I do feel like he is good enough to where, given the offensive weapons, and they won't all be here for this game, but given the offensive weapons and the tackles he's got to work with, I do feel like that he can have a good season here. I really do. I feel like now, listen, it may not be enough to produce a winning record. And, Brian Flores is getting that defense up and running, and there still may not be enough talent at every level to truly get a winning record here for Minnesota. But I do feel like Sam Darnold can compete most weeks with this group of talent that he's got around him. So I've got the Vikings here actually covering that 1.5 there against the Giants. But this is a game where anything can happen. Shane, I think, mentioned all the turnovers. If that happens, boy, we could see some 21-point swings in either direction. So this is absolutely a game where anything can happen. And I don't know how y'all feel about it. I know a lot of people like to kind of, poo-poo on games like this because the two teams aren't expected to be very good. I love a game like this just as much as any big game because it looks like it'll be an even matchup. So I love games like this almost as much as anything else. All right.
If I could have pushed, I would have. That's the game to do it in. That's the push that I was holding.
Rams at the Lions. This is one of the marquee matchups of the week. At the moment, the Lions are 3.5-point favorites. Shane.
So on this one, even though I've spent the rest of our weeks talking about how I think the Lions are the choice in the NFC, Sean McVay with the entire offseason, I think the Lions still don't get after the quarterback enough. The Rams could actually have most of their offense healthy for the beginning of the year. I picked the Rams in this one. Like I said, I stand behind the Lions. I think they're going to have a great season. But McVay, the Rams in the beginning, my only worry is Aaron Donald's retirement. What does that defense look like? But the Rams, unlike a lot of teams that we've talked about so far, went in the draft and said we need more defensive players. So will that turn out for him? I'm not sure, but I picked the Rams. Like I said, I think McVay gets his teams ready. And if the Lions are going to slip, I think you catch them early in the season.
All right, Yusuf.
All right, rematch of last year's wild card, which was an awesome matchup. Detroit won that one by 1 point, so this line might be too high. Both teams addressed some issues they had. The Rams had issues on their O-line. They addressed it to some degree with Jonah Jackson, so we'll see how that looks. Kind of hard to tell in preseason what that looks like, besides some flashes here and there. Detroit had issue with his secondary. We talked about that on multiple occasions. Every show I was on, I was talking about this secondary because that was one of the big reasons why I think they didn't go further in the playoffs. So they brought in Carlton Davis, from Tampa Bay. I think he's on the other side of his career. No offense to him or anything. And they drafted a Terrion Arnold, who I know at least one of you guys is pretty high on the show. I heard you talk about it. I'm going with the Lions here. I doubt very highly they're gonna go over 50.5. I just don't see it. So taking the Lions with the on the under in this situation. I think it's gonna be one of those kind of matchups. Probably will be one or two, or no more than a 3-point difference. It's gonna be a tight game. They play each other really well, and they have most of the same personnel. So I'm going with the Lions on this one. We'll be back, brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good.
All right. Austin, we're split so far.
So
as one way or the other.
Yeah, as Yusuf mentioned, it's a 51-point over-under game. And if this is going to be a super high-scoring game, if we're going to reach, 55, maybe even approach 60 points total, Lions, I think, are the reason that happens. The Lions are, as I've mentioned a few times, they are favored to be the second highest scoring in the entire NFL this year. It is a fantastic offense. The big question is their secondary, and I love what they've done with the secondary. Brian Branch showed himself last year to be like a queen on the chessboard, can be moved around to several different positions, can do whatever he's needed to and do it very, very well. He's like a smaller version of Kyle Hamilton for the Ravens. And then Terrion Arnold's a big addition there. I really like this Lions team. I think they are probably my NFC favorite. And if you listen to my podcast, I have picked Jared Goff to be my MVP this season, and that only happens if the Lions start the season off hot and finish it hot. So I've got the Lions covering.
All right, Lions winning and covering the 3.5. I do have the Lions winning, but I don't have them winning. That 3.5 is bothering me, so I've got them winning by like 1 point. I do like the over in this game, and I don't necessarily like to pick overs, but I do figure there's a lot of points going up in this game. The Lions secondary may be improved, but it's the first game of the season. So even if it's better, it might still be a little bit on the sloppy side as opposed to, say, 8 weeks from now, in theory. You never know. I figure a lot of points going up on the board in this game. It's indoors. Both teams are used to playing indoors. Both teams have offenses that are hot and ready to roll with coordinators that know how to do it and quarterbacks that know how to do it. I mean, this looks like a fun, high-scored matchup to me. But that line is bothering me, so give me the Rams to cover the 3.5 while the Lions squeak out a close one. This will be the final game that we covered for this week. The Jets and the 49ers, I believe that's Monday Night Football on ESPN. The line was at 3.5. It's now 4 for the 49ers at last check. Shane.
Yeah, I don't know if that half a point came from Trent Williams adding more money to his bank account or some shots fired in San Francisco. But either way, I think the 49ers are going to win this one handily. The Jets, until they prove differently, are the Jets. I think Aaron Rodgers obviously is an uptick at quarterback, but I just don't believe in the Jets. I've seen them before have talent and then underperform. When we went over coaches with hot seats, I think Saul's is super hot, especially if Rodgers does not come out with an outstanding game in the beginning. And I think the 49ers have the ability to control the ball and to run up the score. So even if the Jets play at their max, I still think the 49ers pull this one out.
Yusuf, do you feel the same way?
I do. One of the things that I think is weird about this is because it feels like the Jets are being given the keys to the kingdom, and they haven't done anything to earn it. Everywhere you look, the Jets are being considered to be favorites. Even in some cases, I don't even know where I saw that. Potential Super Bowl favorites. I'm like, really? Based on what? So this line is like, it's amazing to me. The Niners should really crush that number. Honestly, they have the more cohesive offense. They got guys that have been generally more healthier than the Jets. Case in point, Brees Hall and Aaron Rodgers, of course. I mean, he's going to be out there probably for the first time in real game action. If Bosa and Floyd are on this field, I think the strategy is going to be make Aaron Rodgers move as much as possible. That's not what he wants to do, especially with his physical condition. So it's going to be it's going to be a real chess game. But I like the number doesn't seem to match up for me. I think the Niners are going to have the bulk of that. Their offense is so cohesive. I mean, they got Debo out there. I would assume that Juwan Johnson's going to be back as well. And then you got Brandon Ayuk got his new money. Trent got his money. It's about to get his. He's going to be on the field. I mean, they got everybody back for the most part, except for Armstead. So the run game could be a challenge for him, But other than that, this is it right here. The Niners should really beat the Jets up really, really good. That's my hope anyway, because I want to see. I'm bothered that the people think the Jets are going to win just based on the fact that Aaron Rodgers is on this team. It bothers me. I'm like, you can't. I've seen it so many times. I'm like, this is not good. So I'm rooting against them actively. I want to see them get smashed on Monday night.
Actively rooting against the Jets. I mean, that ain't got nothing to do with the Giants thing, does it?
No,
I mean, that's two separate
totally
things.
Separate from that. This is an Aaron Rodgers inflated line type of situation. That's what this is. The Giants got nothing to do with this. No.
We don't need the Giants for this. This is on our own here. Austin, I'm going to save you for last because you're our typical left fielder, and I don't know where you're going to go with this. I'm going to go with the 49ers here, and we'll just see what direction you take it here in a second. All right. I've got the 49ers winning. Not quite to the extent that you guys have said so far, but I do have the 49ers winning. I do think they're the better team. They are at home. Looks like they're going to have most of their pieces back. Not quite everybody, but they'll have a whole boatload of talent on both sides of the football, right? And, I can remember a year ago when they were getting ready to play the Steelers a year ago, and they just ran the Steelers right out of the building too, So I feel like the 49ers win this, I don't know, 27-20, something like that. I think they cover that number. I do have the Jets making the playoffs this year, but not winning the division and not getting into the Super Bowl. I'm not that high on them. So that's where I'm at on this game. Austin, final pick of the night. Where's it at for you?
I'm not sure how you knew that I was going to pick the Jets, but you did. Listen, it's the PTSD like military guy meme, just kind of like the 1,000-yard stare for me when I hear Aaron Rodgers' name as a Vikings fan. I'm terrified of the man. So I think he's got, I'm saying this very confidently, the second best wide receiver he's ever had in his career in Garrett Wilson. I'll say that pretty confidently, I think. I think Garrett Wilson is an elite talent, and then he's got one of the best running backs, probably the best running back he's ever played with, I think, in Breece Hall. This is a team full of weapons, not to mention how good their defense is. The 49ers are a really good team, but they've had a lot of players not practicing, which scares me a little bit. Yeah. They've had a lot of practice together. This team is very similar to the one that went to the Super Bowl last year, but Ayuk hasn't been practicing because of his contract dispute. McCaffrey's been hurt dealing with a calf injury. He hasn't been practicing. Trent Williams hasn't been practicing due to his contract thing. So there's a lot of I think this 49ers team might come out a little clunky. I'm expecting, Salah's coaching for his job right now. So I think he is fully bought into doing anything he can to win this game. And Aaron Rodgers, a lot of people thought he was going to go to the 49ers. I think he himself thought he was going to go to the 49ers for a second at one point. But he's there in New York playing for the Jets. Give me the Jets, especially with those points. If it was straight up, I would still probably take the Niners, but 4 points, give me the Jets.
All right, Austin, you did not disappoint. I appreciate it. Appreciate you adding some flavor to the show that already had some. All right. I do look forward to seeing Aaron Rodgers back on the field, win or lose. I just hope he completes the first game, be more than he did last season for all those Jets fans out there. That's it for our picks tonight. It's time for our final 60. Shane, take it away.
Well, Austin hit on some tough time for the Seminoles, a tough run for North Carolina State. But for me, the final 60 is college football. I love to see some of those different matchups. In my neck of the woods, Kyle McCord, to transfer to Syracuse University, put on an absolute show. so much that Coach Brown said I should send a bottle of champagne to Coach Dave for sending them our way. So I like when coaches go back at other coaches. Syracuse hasn't had a quarterback to speak of since McNabb. So they were happy to see the ball fly around in the dome. And I also wanted to mention, if you're just someone that scans the television for the odd football game, if you get a chance, watch Texas State, GJ Kinney. They love to throw the ball around. Joey Hobart is an acrobat as a wide receiver. He's the one for last year in September, made a one-handed catch on the sideline against Baylor. He made an outstanding toe tap touchdown against 3 defenders this week. So if you're late at night, hit that Fox Sports, see the Texas games when you get a chance.
Love it. Love Syracuse football. One of my first games I ever watched, we're talking like 1989, 90s, was Syracuse and Florida. Florida was up in the dome playing Syracuse back in the day. And yeah, love me some Syracuse football in the dome. All right, Yusef.
All right. This should be short. It might not hurt to think about where we prioritize sports. I know collectively we go crazy this time of year, present company included. We're still a lot more crazy than usual. But it's easy to find social media posts like football is everything and blank team is my life. I see this concept all the time. Like, it really shouldn't be that serious. I ain't going to rehash the situation with Ricky Pearsall and the shooting and everything, but in the blink of an eye, everything can change dramatically. I'm not trying to be a downer or anything, but I think it's best for us to not let the normal crazy become the normal. It's sports. We don't play. We might bet, but we don't play. We're not really invested. We're not shareholders per se in these sports. Might need to tone down some of the, this team is my life thing. I would die without. We need to tone that stuff down and have some perspective. This is a game that we don't play, that we get a chance to enjoy freely. So in most cases, free, I guess. So watching it on television. So just have some perspective could be good for this time of year.
Yeah, especially if your team's losing, right? I'm gonna take a serious take and put it in the funny, right? Don't let your emotions get too carried away with you.
Why do I feel like that's a shot at me?
No,
I am not sure that it was.
Well, I'm sure all 4 of us, like, I don't even have a favorite team in the NFL anymore because I got tired of the emotional ups and downs. That's legit hardcore the truth. I quit rooting, but I know all 3 of y'all at the moment are looking at teams
that's not an excuse.
Got an uphill battle this year. So yeah. Hey, it's my excuse. Works for me. I quit doing it, man. Couldn't handle it anymore. All right. Totally agree with the take, Yusef. Austin, your final 60.
Yeah, so I don't like to do this, but I'm gonna shout out my own podcast that I've got. We are having our 100th episode this week, and
congrats.
Thank you. It's really awesome. I don't know if we thought we were gonna get to 100 episodes when we started it, but here we are, and we're still having as much fun doing it today as we were back then. But we do this thing every football season. It's a game that I created along with Billy and Connor. It's called the Tricky 50. It's a fantasy football type auction game show that we do. It runs all football season long. It's called the Tricky 50. It is so much fun. We're gonna do it at the end of every episode. For our 100th episode is the first week of the Tricky 50 in this season. We're doing a Tricky 100, so we're doubling it. It'll be awesome, and it may or may not have been as a guest host. We'll see. But yeah, just come check us out. Definitely check out the Tricky 50. So just shout out to and especially Ben and the Box Score Network for I don't know if we are here without you guys. So thanks to everybody who's been on the show and been a part of it, the journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Shout out to everybody over in Box Score. But congratulations on the 100. That was going to be my final 60 as well. So I'm going to stay on it for a second. We all have life hit us, and we all take different turns. And sometimes it's time to just bow out, or sometimes it's time to limit. There's all kinds of things going on. So whenever you get to 100, that's a cool shot. That's roughly 2 years, right? Is that?
Yep. This is exactly 2 years almost.
All right. Yeah. So congratulations. That's a big deal. Anytime you can hit a mark like that, I absolutely love it. Shout out to you. Yeah, right now, as far as my role goes, I'm the Drake May. So I'm on the bench. I'm the backup, and I'm waiting to see if the starter goes down. If he goes down, then I'm in. All right.
Ben's like the FSU backup after DJ missed that wide open touchdown yesterday. He's on the sideline throwing up. Coach about to put me in. I can feel it.
I was gonna go with the Bell South call to the bullpen. Get the
Congratulations to Austin and Tricky Takes and everybody over there. Anybody else with any final thoughts before we shut this thing down for the night? Thank you, everybody, for listening. The NFL season has started. We won't be doing 6 picks every week. Most weeks we'll be doing 2 or 3 picks, and then we'll be covering lead stories. We'll also be covering people we think need more attention than they're currently getting. And then we'll work in a couple of other teams, kind of team-focused things as well on a week-by-week basis. So check us out next week. Enjoy the start of your NFL season, everybody. Goodbye.